So today's topic is about collaborating using GitHub and showcased by me, Pingfan, and Professor Helveston.
I'm here. Hey.
Hi. Do I need to turn my camera?
No, I can join the call. Just join it on my machine.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Zoom, and then that way, if we go back and forth, I could like share my screen and
Cool.
the stages,
Yeah.
and you can have a mic over here too to switch back and forth.
So, yeah. Yeah, so this is how GitHub Desktop looks like. So if you want to work on GitHub, then this app is a kind of a must-have app. So using that, I'll start from adding, like this is add button. So I can just clone a repository. Oh, how about just create a new repository?
Yeah, let's maybe just make a new one. And
Yeah,
to be clear, like you don't have to use this. You can just use the terminal, but
yeah.
that's really hardcore, and I like GUIs for this.
Yeah, it's kind of a
So,
combination of GUI and coding.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like the desktop app. I think it works really well.
There
There's a
are
bunch of
there are reasons why people create GUI. Like it's just more intuitive. So name, how about just a test survey? And then this is a test survey
I'm gonna
down.
make a template survey repository, and then I'm gonna try to find it and
Yeah,
add something to it or something.
yeah.
And,
Mhm.
well, just like we would be doing if we're making software.
Yeah. So I'll just find the local path, create a repository. Now the repository is here. I'll just publish. So for showcase purposes, I just intentionally keep this code private so that by default it's oh, I need to keep it.
No, make it public.
Yeah, I need to
Make it public.
yeah, I need to make it public.
People
My
see
bad.
it.
Yeah, so that people can see it. And yeah, so I can have three options open in my IDE, which is this first one, external editor, and show in Finder, which shows the local folder, and then view on GitHub. If I click on view on GitHub, this is how it looks like online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just show in Finder, and then I will just copy and paste one existing template. How about the default template? So I'll just have app.r and server.qmd and this R project. These are three essential files. Okay, now we have it. So for now, I will just push it. There's an AI tool, just yeah, I understand. Okay.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, yeah, it's just really amazing. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. If you think it's too verbose, just delete the description and yeah, add initial survey app and template file. So this is really smart. So yeah, and then this is on stage. And if you want to push Command P, or there is a blue button here, or there is a push origin here, like there are three options you can use. How about just click on this blue button, push origin. Okay, now we have this repository live. So if I go to my GitHub page again and refresh it, I see everything. Yeah. So this is how the repository looks like. And yeah, now I can, so Professor, do I share it with you now?
Well, so first off, like, let's just talk about how we typically make edits. Like if we're making software, we have multiple people who want to contribute to this project.
Yeah.
In this case, this is a template survey, but most of the times, like, let's say that's software that's like a package or something that people can install, and we don't want to like change those files right now because like we might break something accidentally. We want to change them in a safe way, so we make branches. So this is, I think many people use GitHub in this way, where they just have a local file, make some changes, and they push it to this main branch. And they only have a main branch, and that's like, they just never do anything with the branching features. I think the branching feature is like what I really want to showcase, because when we're editing software, we always have to have a main branch that we're confident is like good. Like that version has no known bugs in it.
Yeah.
And people can download that and it's safe.
Yeah.
So I would start by just making a new branch and explaining like what that feels like.
Cool. So this is where you can choose a branch. By default, there is only one main branch. And so you can just search for a branch, or you can just create a new branch. How about just we create a new branch? So I'll just call it version 1. How about this? Version 1. Yeah, create a branch, and then we can publish the branch. So right now, these two branches are online. So if we refresh the page, you can see there are two branches, and you can choose from the different branches. Right now, since the version 1 is based on the main branch, they are the same. And when you choose from different branches, the like the local files you see actually change with it. So right now I'm on version 1, which means my local files, they're still version 1, although there's no difference. And now I'm free to edit on version 1, which is the branch, without touching the main branch. So when I reach a point that I feel confident that, well, this is a good editing, then I might merge to the branch. So for example, now I
Make some changes.
yeah,
Like just do a couple changes here.
yeah.
And this is a survey, like, let's say this is a survey that we're both collaborating on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I want to add a welcome message. It already has one.
Yeah.
Let's just put hello world in there somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just do it hello here and hello world. Welcome to your first server down server. Click the button below to get started.
Yeah, be very verbose.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
AI.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
This is perfect because you have a typo, but let's pretend we didn't catch that. So we'll work with that. Leave the
Okay.
typo.
I leave the typo.
So
Okay.
you did your changes to the
I did
survey.
my changes. Okay. Now see the changes are reflected here. I say I want to, yeah, every time when I want to push, I have to, fill in some message. How about I just leave it as default because the message is here. Like I updated the server.gmp file. So I commit is on stage again, and then I have to push origin. Note that the difference between like the advantage of having a branch is that right now I'm on this branch, which means I have this new, like the new section, the new hello section. And if I move back to the main branch, you see it disappears.
Yeah.
That's why we need to have branch. Like if you're just doing some temporary job or some extension, job, then you can have this branch. Okay, now it's back. So this is how we create a branch and then push to the repository. So the online repository also has the update. So now we have the update and with the typo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So in branches, like, I mean, since Pingfan is the owner of this repo, right now he's the only one who has access to it. He's the only one who can like change it. But I mean, I could see it because it's a public one. So how about I go and try to fix your typo?
Yeah. I just share this link with you.
Share it in the. Okay, yeah, we can share it to me on Coders.
Photos.
And then I can share my screen and show you. I'll take that link and go to it on online and we'll switch. Who's sharing?
Yeah, I said, Professor, please help me fix the typo. Yeah, just pretend everything is true. Like this is how an actual workflow works.
Yeah, so let me share. You have to stop sharing.
Okay, I gotta stop share.
And then mute yourself in your audio and I'll turn. All right. And turn your audio off.
I turn my audio off. Oh, maybe I need to mute my
Mic and speakers.
speaker.
All right. So now you can see my screen. This is me. And I have gone to this same URL. So I'm seeing the same repo and there's two different branches. Okay. And I see an issue and I'm reviewing the dev branch and I look at, okay, it's one commit ahead. Okay. So that means there's been some changes that are different than the main branch. So this thing is ahead of the branch main and I can go back and see, oh, this is what he added. Right. So I can easily, if I'm reviewing his work or and we're working on it together, we're always working on a branch. Like we're always never really touching the main branch. And so I noticed that there's this typo here. So there's a couple things I could do. I could try to make a note to him and say like, hey, this is a problem. Can you fix this?
But actually, right now, I'm not a collaborator on this. Like, I don't have access to edit this. So I have to make, I think I have to fork this thing first,
Oh, yeah.
which is not always necessary. So I guess this is like an additional step, um, for me to make an edit to it. But yeah, so it says fork your own copy. So if I'm an external collaborator, like I'm not part of this project, I have to make a copy of it myself. I can edit my copies and I can ask Pingfan to bring in my changes to his branch. So we're making a branch of a branch here, sort of, so to speak, but it's a branch that's like on my own. And now it's under my name. So it's gonna go from Pingfan to now J Helvey.
Oh, right now
Um,
you have the branch.
this is getting really complicated.
Yeah. Now you only have the main branch.
Yeah. If you had added me as a collaborator, so if I had gone back to the Pingfan version and in his settings, like there is no settings here, but if I go to my version of it, there is a settings thing. So he could, if this was in his, he could have gone in here and added me as a collaborator. Oh, I should just authenticate. And he could have added me. If I was a collaborator, then I'm already in that. I could just directly edit the branch. Since I'm not a collaborator, I have my own copy of it now, and I can edit these things. So I have copied main.
When you fork it, you can choose which branch.
Yeah, I know. I'm realizing I should have. Huh? Why don't we go back and make this a little easier? Yeah.
You can just fork the branch.
Let's make a cleaner one of this. Create a new fork. Yeah, this is copy the main branch only. I need to.
On by default.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah. If you top it off, then you can the owner.
Ah, we're messing up this whole demo, and this is how GitHub falls apart. I'm gonna have to go in and like actually delete my thing. This is not how we typically work. I actually have to delete this first because I actually just worked it. And like this seems like so much effort to change. Yeah, I know it's
No
bad.
worries. I gotta edit
Like it's an enormous amount. No, this is great because this is exactly what it feels like. Like there's so much effort here in trying to make a typo fix, but it's all for good reason. Like there's reasons why we do this. See, now that doesn't exist.
Now we fork it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so that we don't ever change this main branch accidentally. I mean that the main branch is sort of like sacred, and you kind of want to be very careful with any changes you're making to it, because other people could be copying that main branch, or again, if it's software, they could be installing it, and there could be thousands of people installing your bug, that you just introduced. And so the whole purpose of this is we're working on this side branch. All of the stuff we're doing right now, all these things I just did, nothing is happening to the main branch that whole time. So we're making copies of it and all kinds of stuff. Now I can switch over to the version 1. I can go in here and I could clone this to my machine and edit it in an IDE, but I'm just going to edit it directly because I know where there was a problem. I'm like, hey, there's a typo. And I'm going to now say, commit my change. I'm going to say, Copilot told me, fix typo. Thank you. All right. So now my version of this is fixed. I had a recent push and I can pull it. All right. If I do this, open a pull request to Pingfan's version 1 branch. So this is his version. I want his, not mine. And I want him to go to his branch. And I'm going to say, I fixed your typo. I'm like, whoops. It looks like you made a mistake. And I'm going to send him a pull request. So what he's doing is it does some automatic checks to make sure that there's like no issues. If I had edited something and like in the meantime he was also making edits, things were conflicting with each other, but we try to coordinate our editing so that only one of us is sort of making major changes at once. Now it's out of my hands. Like I have sent it over to him and there's nothing I can do. Now he has to go in and edit. So I'm going to stop sharing again and we'll go back to Pingfan.
Back to me. So
he should see a PR in his thing. So you'll hear this word PR all the time. You'll hear like someone says, you know, there's a bug and they're like, can you fix it? And I would say, send me a PR.
Yeah.
Like you fix it, not me. You go fix it and then send me a pull request and I'll take a look at your, you know, your fixes.
I need to turn off.
No, that's just, that's it.
Now there's no.
Okay. Yeah, now I'm back. So right now it's you guys are seeing my screen. So on my web page, I see there is one pull request. Okay, fix a typo. Okay, some smart guy just fixed my typo. It's good.
Yeah.
So
No, wait,
Yeah.
don't merge it yet. Take a look at it.
Take
So
a
you
look.
can click on the change and you can see what I did, right?
okay, hello
Um,
world. Okay, yeah, I spelled it wrong. Okay, cool, great. So I can say, okay,
If you want, you can go through this process of
okay,
sort of leaving a formal trail of
Okay.
comments, you know. Obviously, typically, it's not like one little thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, but usually it's like I added a new feature, you know,
Yeah.
I added some whole block code in multiple files and, you
yeah.
know, wait.
Oh, so when I choose approve, that means I both leave you a comment and also
Yeah,
approve this.
you can like-
Okay, PR.
right.
Okay, cool,
Good
good
job.
catch. Yeah.
So,
So
he's approved
yeah.
it.
Mhm. Then I can merge from your forked version 1 to my version 1, right? So this merge is still merging to version 1, not the main branch.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. It's been merged in purple color. So right now, if I go back to my GitHub desktop, and I say fetch origin, and then see I have two things that I can pull. Click on it, and then in the history, I can see, well, so this is the history of our editing. So initial commit, and then I added 3 important files. I updated on my own, leaving a typo, and then Professor Helveston just fixed this typo, and then I merged it into my own branch of version 1. Now, if I go back to my IDE, see I'm still in version 1, and so this typo is fixed. Like this is one little example of how to fix a little typo, or it can be as easy as fixing one typo, or as complicated as adding a whole new feature and a lot of editings in this
Yeah.
pull request. So the core idea of showcasing this is not to showcase you how complicated it is to fix one typo. No, it is to showcase how to collaborate and to, for example, to add some improvements, some new features, and anything in a collaboration way. Yeah. So now I'm confident with this branch. Then for me, I can go ahead and merge to main.
You can do another pull request yourself.
Yeah, I can do a pull request on my own. How do I do it? Well, on this main panel of this GitHub desktop, I can see there is a blue button here. Like blue button says click me. So preview pull request. I can preview this. So this is the changes. So we added this hello section and with the correct spelling, which is fixed by Professor Helveston, and then I can say create pull request. When I click on it, I can also go through the same process as Professor Helveston went through. So the main branch, so I want to merge this version 1 to the main branch, and there's a green text telling me it's able to merge, and then I can just create a pull request. So this time, since I am the owner of this repository, I do not need to bring a pull request to anyone else. I can just handle it on my own. So I can just merge the pull request on my own and I say confirm. So for me, the processing is the same, but it's just much easier. So right now, it's still in purple color, it says it's merged. So right now, if I go back to my GitHub desktop and then I switch to main, I can also go to the history. I fetch the origin and I pull the origin. Okay, so it also shows the history. So everything is the same. So in my very latest version, I had this new section added without any error. And if I go back to my IDE, it also says, maybe I need to, yeah, here. There's a main branch. So right now in my main branch, everything is working fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's Yeah, that's
There's
how.
no mechanics there.
Yeah, there's the mechanics of it.
But
Yeah,
like, go back to your desktop. I think it's the history is what's so useful here.
yeah,
It's a different way of thinking about changes. I think most people are used to editing, especially if it's like a document.
Mhm.
Like we'll write papers this way. I mean, we won't just write code. We might write a paper in LaTeX and we have a text file. And so we're editing paragraphs in a paper that we're writing together.
Mhm.
And we'll do it the same way, where it's a different way of looking at changes. Most people, if you've worked in like Word or Google Docs and you're used to seeing suggested changes where like your suggestions, when you delete something, you see the line get slashed out and your
Yeah.
additions are green.
Yeah, maybe
This
I
is-
can showcase like
Yeah, this is another version of just doing that, but
Yeah.
that change history is really nice because I can go back and see edits that he made, all these different files. Okay,
Yeah.
we had to fix this one.
Yeah,
We had a
one bug.
dependency in a package.
Yeah,
that was-
yeah.
We had to use the URL instead of XURL or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Mhm.
you know, this is our like how
But
we would
there's-
collaborate on a document together.
Mhm.
And so we wouldn't be writing in real time. We'll often like make our edits, push them to a branch, and then they'll message me on Slack and say, okay, I've made my changes, take a look whenever you can.
Yeah.
The next day I'll look it over and then I might make some edits as well. I might make some changes. And so we're always looking at the change history to see what did you do while I was gone. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened on the last version.
Yeah.
And being on this branch is just really nice and clean. You
Mhm.
you can see these long histories of
Yeah.
where we started.
I can also go to the server down and main page.
Yeah,
Like this is our
I mean, if you look at the
branches.
main, like how many go to the GitHub version, you can see it. If you say view on GitHub, you'll see how many commits, 1,286 commits on this package.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Oh my God.
We made
Yeah.
a lot of changes, you know, to this package over time. And you can go the entire history of this thing from where it first started.
Yeah.
Is all here.
Yeah, it's all here.
And it's really nice. So it's particularly nice for software because you can go back and find where was something introduced for its first time, and especially if there's some bug that has been lingering for a while, you can find out where did we start that thing.
Yeah.
And you can say, oh, it was when you made this PR back here in September.
Yes.
And so the version controlling, when we talk about version control in software, it's very important that you have very clear, you know, demarcations of time where you say, okay, this is now a new version.
Yeah.
But kind of the same for documents. Like,
yeah,
I absolutely hate having a folder that has like 25, you know, versions of a Word doc and
yeah,
you know, it says, you know, latest one or latest.
Yeah.
We have all these long histories, and it's unnecessary to keep all those files because they're all here. So if you really want that paragraph back, and you change your language, but you decide a month later, actually, I really like that previous paragraph. You just go back in time, and you can view the files at that stage and pull that, you can copy it in. So there's a cleanness to making these timestamps for every major change you make, and leaving breadcrumbs here. Every message you leave, there's usually hopefully a meaningful message that was like, this is what we changed. Sometimes we're like, fix the bug.
Yeah, something like that.
What bug did you fix? Like, but then you have to click on it and you see inside there's like a note that says what bug it was.
Yeah.
But
this is one example, like the commit number.
I think best practices for that, like that was, as you were talking, you sort of answered the question I was going to raise, but like having meaningful comments so that you can search on, because like I know for myself, just sort of I'm trying to remember something happened at some point. I'm not even quite sure what it was, and I'm not quite sure exactly when it was. But usually if there's like a keyword or two in my head, it's like, oh, I can sort of migrate back to what it is, but having even the comment in there that's, you know, like this was the specific thing we were trying to solve for here.
Yeah, so one way to help with this is if you go to the news file in SurveyDoc, I think that's like a really good practice.
Or I can just go to the website.
Well, see it in GitHub, because this is how people are going to be looking at their files. Like there's a news.md, and this keeps if it's .md, it's nice because it'll render nicely.
Markdown.
GitHub, the markdown will render nicely.
Yeah.
But this is generally like my best suggestion is as you're making changes, don't just rely on the GitHub commits, but actually leave yourself a description
Note
of what
down.
was done with that
Yeah.
version. So
Mhm.
each of these versions will probably likely are itself some big PR. Like we have a branch that we made and we did all of these edits in that branch. This is a high level summary of all of them. So we can go back to the very first version of Survey Down
Yeah.
on this doc and see where we started, like way back.
Yeah,
And so
initial
this is a
version.
much
Yeah.
more searchable form than that long history. And so if we go up and we say, when did we change the word show if to, or
Yeah.
skip if to skip forward or something?
Mhm.
You can look for the word skip forward.
Yeah.
Find it, you know, it was version 12 or whatever, and then we go back in our commit history and say, okay, it has to have been before this point.
Yeah.
So we know where we're looking.
Uh-huh.
So it does help us search. But I can have files like this if I'm working on a document that I'm writing. It doesn't have to be software, like I said. It can be
Yeah.
a paper we're writing, and as we're making changes,
Yeah.
we can make versions of our paper. You know, we can say, okay, after version 1.1, this is where we add the lit review. And 1.2 is when our results were added in. And we can leave ourselves a news file or any you know summary.md file in the branch. And every time we make some major sort of sectional change, we'll leave a little note about what that was. So I'd rather see this than 25 Word docs. You know, I'd rather see one
Yeah.
MD file that tells me the change history of how you updated this paper.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a better way to write and version control everything, you know, papers, grant proposals, software, kind of all things at least in my lab, we are very much a GitHub focused, a GitHub oriented lab. And when students come in, like this is the tutorial we give them. It's like how to make a branch,
Yeah.
how to make a commit, how do you do these types of things?
Yeah.
And you develop a workflow practice. It's very different from I think how most people, especially writing papers, how we typically write. But
also maybe we can go to the like the lab repository, right?
yeah, I have a lab manual. I mean, this is
the lab
going
manual,
beyond,
lab
like,
manual. Right.
what we had talked about. This is a private repo, so only people who are you know have permission to it can see it. Well, we shouldn't show all the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We have identifiers and stuff.
I need to cut it off. Yeah, I will edit the
to cut those out. But it has just like a lot of, you know, sort of like an FAQ page for my lab, you know, how to do a lot of things. A lot of them are GW specific. Like for international students, here's how you deal with these problems with your visa times. So we have all kinds of stuff that like anyone who's in my lab has worked on can contribute to. But so most of the time we're working in public repositories, and that's this whole idea of making a branch and a pull request to merge the branches together. That's anything that's a public repository, you can do that. So actually, I wonder if we can find the one on the website, the Survey Down website, where they made the typo fix. So recently made a fix on our website. So the documentation for our Survey Down doc is on another repository that's just called website.
Here.
And
it's one typo. So something and like doesn't have should have a spacing in between.
Found exactly what we just demoed, like a single space typo.
Yeah.
And you know, she's out, doesn't have privileges to write directly to this repository. So she made a branch, made that change in the branch, sent it as a pull request, and we were like, oh, thank you for making that. And she was just reading our documents page and was like, oh, there's a typo.
Yeah. And we accepted
if you
that.
look at the homepage of this on GitHub, she's listed as a contributor.
Story. Yeah, story.
Because she contributed. I mean, she made a contribution to the
and I can go to view on GitHub
to the package. I mean, this is just the docs. It's a core website, but people have made different contributions over time. To the website. So this is like how you can get involved in open source packages. If you if you want to one change.
One change.
And even in the smallest ways, like if you want to get involved on a package, if you're using a package and you find a problem, even if it's a typo, a small problem, you can go find the source code, make a branch, make a pull request, and the maintainer most of the time are nice people and are like, thank you. And that is how you can start. I mean, it's the simplest things that you can start getting involved with. But most of this stuff is community driven. It's the users are the developers. People who are using the package or using the software, they find the problems and sometimes they fix them too. So for this particular Survey Down package that we've been working on for a long time, most of the time it's me and Pingfan are sort of main, let's say, maintainers. but a lot of people are now posting issues, people are using it, and
Yeah.
we have had people contribute, you know, to fixing whole problems. So they post an issue like this is a major problem, and we're like, oh, good catch. Like,
Oh,
let's
sorry.
try to
That's
try to address it, and we'll have a long discussion in the issue.
Yeah.
About like what's the different solutions, and sometimes they just fix it. You know, they're like, well, I found a fix because I needed it to work right now.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? We're like, that's a great solution.
Yeah, we have a lot of
So-
recent discussions.
So we just merged it in ourselves.
Yeah.
We're like, can you copy that same thing over to like
Yeah.
the source code, and we'll implement it.
Yeah, issues and discussions. I think these are two very important features of GitHub. Maybe we can open another GitHub coders, meeting
Yeah,
to
talking about
focus on that.
This is so
Yeah.
important to be a place to have a forum for discussion with
Yeah.
the people, using and editing your software.
Yeah, I can
where,
click on any of them. And
a
these are
discussion is sort of at an organizational level. We have a survey down dev organization that itself has lots of different repositories, one of which is the package, another one is the website, things like that.
the overview, and this is our dev website.
Yeah.
And then with the server down studio website and a lot of templates.
Lots of templates.
Yeah, and then we can go to the discussions and see a lot of the discussions. I can just click on any of the discussions and see like these questions are raised by the users, and they can just quote. For example, this is the news.markdown file that we just showcased, and so she just quoted this and had some questions about it, and then this is the message left by Professor John Helveston. And then I followed up with some reasoning. And this is how it goes. Like this is it's kind of a full all-inclusive feature that includes both the coding, collaborating, merging, and discussions.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, who actually owns this repo? Is it the university? Is it you personally, or
No.
how?
So
because and the reason why I ask is because like I've got a repo and it's just set up under my personal account, and it's stuff to do with HP. It's the sandbox stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
So, but I'm wondering, like, am I going to run afoul of the university, like publishing content, not
through them.
through university channels? How
So
does that work?
organizations, at least my understanding, I mean, anyone can make an org. And I have orgs for different things. Like this is probably the biggest one I've made because we have this whole package and its documentation all under it. I mean, one of the main reasons was for exactly this kind of purpose. Like we started as one repo, and that repo was the software. And we realized that we need a good website to document the software. So I'm like, well, I need a new repo for that. And now both of those repos are under my personal account. And I was like, this is just weird. Like, why is I'm going to end up with a dozen repos soon, all under my account. And when you go to my account, you're going to see hundreds of other repos that have nothing to do with it. So when people are searching for that, that's a problem. I would want those to all be organized under a separate entity. So I made an organization, and all I had to do was say transfer ownership to the org. And when I did that, it made when I made the org, I was the owner of the org.
Right.
But really, so the org it's separately has its own membership. And Pingfan and I are both core collaborators on the organization, so we can edit and create any repositories. We have all privileges as if it's like another account.
Right.
But it is sort of still its own thing.
Right.
And at any point, I can just step down and be like, I'm not going to be a collaborator anymore, and someone else will be. So, this is I think a really useful way to organize. So it allows you to just, first of all, you get your own URL. It's no longer GitHub/jhelby. It's GitHub/surveydowndev. And that is going to live past me. And who knows where this thing goes? But let's say some other maintainer wants to pick this up and really build it out. Then I'm going to be like, well, it's still surveydowndev. It's not your that person's GitHub. It's surveydowndev, and you can go off and develop. And so the other thing it does is it facilitates the discussion, right? So the discussion tab is sort of global to the whole organization. It's not within one repository. It's the whole org gets a discussion panel. And that's really useful to, and that's what it's for, it's discussion, like ideas and stuff. The
Yeah.
issues tab is specific to a repo. So we have a bug, there's an actual problem, I've identified it. It's only going to be in that one repo. Discussion is about anything you want.
Yeah, in the repo, the organization level has a discussion.
So I have thought about making yet another. So I have an org for each class I teach. You know,
Yeah.
those are all mostly private. The orgs are not, but most of the repos are private because they're like my course websites and stuff. But I will have. I thought about making my own just sort of a lab one for students in my lab, and that's where I would put that manual and maybe some other repos. But
Yeah, that'll be a good idea.
I never did it yet, but
Yeah, and also
yeah, the university. I don't think. First of all, I don't think anybody knows about this stuff at the university. I mean, like very few people would know or understand or care much about this, but also they really don't have much of a say. Like we can make kind of anything we want. If you work in open source, then I can publish my stuff and anybody can see it. That's my choice.
Yeah.
So I prefer this approach to all kinds of development. I think it's also just good research practice. I mean, there's obviously certain things like PID, personal identified information. If you're doing survey research and you've collected a bunch of people's names and emails, okay, you can't make that public. You have to follow data security rules, but for the most part, putting up your code and data on any project you've worked on and making it transparent so others can see your analysis is, I think, just crucially important. But not many people do it. I mean, not enough people do it for sure. In like paper review processes, if I'm a reviewer, that's one of the first things I ask for. I'm like, where's the repo of your work so I can like run your code? And half the time they're like, oh, we didn't send that along with the paper. I'm like, okay, what I'd like to see the code. I want to run your results and see if I can at least reproduce them.
Actually, JAWS is a very good example of doing this. Like when you want to submit a JAWS paper, you have to embed this paper, the markdown file or the text file, I think, into this repository that you're submitting. So when you submit the paper, you submit the link to the repository, and the reviewer just go through the repository, looking at your code, your package. At the same time, they also find a folder called paper in which your paper lives there. So that you, at the same time, your package, your paper, your original source file, and also there is a GitHub action, which is another thing that we can cover later in the future. That action creates a PDF version of the paper at the same time. So the reviewer can have access to everything. So that's a really good workflow for jobs.
That's journal of open source stuff. So. But yeah, I mean we do as much as we can in the open, but it's also just really powerful tools for doing careful version controlling. And I'd say our typical workflow is someone posts an issue, we debate it and discuss it on GitHub. Once we identify a direction, either one of us implements it or the other person who found the issue implements it. And one of those pathways ends up in a PR somewhere. And so we have one pull request right now that has been open for a long time.
For a long time.
I mean, since January 3rd of this year, and we never implemented it because we didn't ever sit down and solve the problem. I mean, it was a feature. It wasn't a bug. It was like, I like this feature. And he started working on it. He came up with a solution. And I don't think he had, time or ran out of time or whatever. And it's just been sitting there. So one of us one day will do this. Oh yeah, they do it open peer review. Yes, so the peer review process is entirely done through issues and things just like this. It's great.
Yes, there is
multiple.
So we can manage. Actually, I am about to showcase this. So say right now I just created a new repository on my own machine, and I want to publish the repository so that you can see online. When I click on publish, this is the window that pops up. So the name is called test repo, and I can just leave the description blank, and then private or public. And then here, the organization, if it's chosen to none, that means I am publishing on my own personal account. But I can also switch to server.dev, which means I want to publish this repository in my server.dev. For example, I just choose this, and I just keep it public. So when I publish the repository, takes some time to publish. Okay, so now it's published. So if I view on GitHub, this test repo is under servidon.dev, not under my personal account. So if you go to this organization website, this is the main page, and see the test repo is here. So this is how I publish, not on my personal account, but on the organization account. And so on GitHub desktop, you can just press Command, comma, to open your account. Like for example, you can have, let's see, like this is my own personal account. Professor, I have a question about this. Like, can I sign in multiple personal accounts and then make all of them signed in, like logged in my like in one GitHub desktop session? I don't think so,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, I
So-
think the best practice is to stay with your own personal account, and maybe you can have multiple organizational accounts so that when you publish,
You could definitely do what you just did, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
can definitely have a personal and different orgs that you're
yeah, different orgs.
part of. And that I'd say beyond that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a case where you would need yet a different account.
Mhm.
Maybe if you're, I don't know, you have a persona, you're
Yeah.
writing a fiction novel
Mhm.
using your persona account instead of your personal one.
But if
Who
you
knows?
if you really want to use multiple accounts at the same time, maybe GitHub Desktop is not like it's just one option of managing your GitHub repository. There are a lot of like third-party programmed open source packages that you can use to also create have this feature, like manage your GitHub repositories. And one good feature is that you just use API to give grant to your credentials, so you can have multiple credentials in your machine, and then you can just switch between them.
Yeah.
But that's like a lot more high level. So this is just like GitHub
Most
Desktop
people,
is
won't
yeah.
really need this problem.
Yeah, you don't need this. So GitHub Desktop is really good to use with good GUI, although with some limitation. But a lot of the features, they are already proved by GitHub team. Like it's the official, it's the official app. So yeah.
Yeah, David asked a good question here. So he has another one here about, one benefit of your personal is to make sure you have the same access via GitHub. Yes, this is true.
Mhm.
But that's like using Gmail instead of the GW.
Yeah.
For projects, if you ever leave the organization. I think it makes a good question here about how can I set up and test a fork of survey down before submitting a PR, right? So
Yeah.
this is going to get more specific to what language and package you're sort of working in. I would say in R, you can install from a GitHub branch. Like
Yes.
there is a way of installing a package directly from GitHub.
I had these
These are
codes.
so common.
Yeah, so that I just
These-
leave the
these
codes
things
here.
down So
Yeah.
you can have like that is a way of installing directly from, like if you open up an R console, you can run that line and install from the GitHub. That's from the main branch.
Yeah, and if I want to install a branch, I can just
You can add them, right?
add and then
At whatever
branch
it's
name.
called, like version 1 or whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
So you can make a branch and once all of your changes are up on GitHub on that branch.
Yes.
If it's
So
not
this is
survey
how I
down,
do
if
it.
it's your fork of it, it would be, maybe jhelp/survey down.
Mhm.
It's whatever whatever version and branch of the software you have up on GitHub. You can install that directly, and now that's locally installed. You can test it. You can make further edits, and that's how we typically will work. Is Pingfan will make some edits or something. He'll send a PR.
Yeah.
And when I'm testing it, I'll just install from that branch that's sitting over there in the PR.
Yeah.
And I'll so we'll have, see, this version is not yet merged.
It's not merged. Yeah.
But it does have some small fixes in it,
Mhm.
and you can see some of the changes he made.
Yeah.
I would look at the changes to make sure I understood what was going on, but I would also just install this. I would install it from this long branch name, like 13.4.
Yeah. You can just right click and there is copy branch name. Yeah. It's really convenient. You just copy and then go back to this code and change it to
that.
Yeah.
So if you ran that right now, you would be able to install and run.
We could just run it
the
on the
absolute
fly.
latest version of this package and see if anything broke.
Yeah. This is I paste the code here and then I can just
So this is the thing about R.
enter.
R package management. You install the packages inside the R console directly, which is different from Python, where you're gonna open up pip or one of these 15 different ways of installing packages. This is like the one thing that I always find frustrating with Python is I never know which is the best and latest way of managing packages, but I'm sure there's like a very similar approach where you can install from a branch of something.
Oh, good question.
As someone who's
It makes me really happy that somebody who's like actually teaches this stuff and is an expert is like, I cannot figure out which.
Yeah, no, that's, I have to say, like, if Python managed packages the way that R does, and it had a pipe, like a tidyverse pipe,
Yeah.
I probably would have never used R. Those are the two pain points that I'm like, have always been like this major hurdle for me, like just setting up an environment and getting it to run with packages installed the way I want.
Yeah.
It is still so painful. It is the beauty and curse of having, sort of like the world's most popular language. I think you have the development ecosystem is so much broader that there's 1,000 ways to do something. And R has a lot of like, there's probably 10 ways of doing things, but there's really one that most people use. And it's very clear which one that is, and that's what everyone uses. And so it makes it easy for these kinds of things, but I would have to do another PhD and then I would probably map the Python. But I just, I found my home here and it works for me. So let's see, what was the question?
So imagine you are someone is a kind of a new user who's interested in GitHub and they have got a Mac and they want to start using GitHub.
So GitHub desktop for sure.
Start with GitHub desktop, and also in your mind start using from the most basic functionality. Firstly, like from my point of view, because I started using GitHub from like an innocent. So I've been using it for 2 years, but 2 years ago, I had no idea what it is. So my experience is that just treat it firstly as a manual pushing an online, like a kind of a cloud storage. Same thing as iCloud, because I use iCloud a lot, and just use it as an iCloud, but you are just pushing things online manually, because iCloud pushes things automatically. But for GitHub, it's just manual push. Like we have showcased the push and pull. So push means you want to push the things onto the online repository. Pull means you want to grab the things from the online repository to your own machine. So use this feature first, and then we can start learning from branches, issues, discussions, collaborations, and a lot of things. For example, organization, all the things that we covered today. So it's hard to learn GitHub in only 1 day or even in 1 week. It's really complicated. But the good news is that you can immediately start using GitHub with the most basic and also most important feature, which is the manual push and pull. Right now, you can start it right now. And then there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and just search for YouTube like the basic features or startup of using GitHub. And even you can just talk with, for example, ChatGPT. How about talking with ChatGPT?
Let me interject for a minute on this. So, I mean, you can ask any AI tool. So the one hurdle I think you'll often find with GitHub is there are thousands of tutorials and the AIs know everything about them. But they also, I think, overemphasize the use of Git, the language. Like GIT Git is a language that is like a CLI tool for in your command line working with GitHub, which is where it started. I mean, that's how everyone used GitHub for a long, long time. And I think that is a huge barrier to entry because very, very few people are comfortable in a terminal. Like the vast majority of people don't use a terminal when they use computers. They're used to, like, I open up Google Docs, I can edit my Facebook profile. I'm used to GUIs to make edits. I'm not used to like a white and black blinking thing staring at me. It's intimidating, and also it's very foreign. You write these Git, little -m push, like you don't know what those things mean. And so a lot of tutorials kind of focus heavily on that. And right away we're kind of lost. I feel like you could spend an hour staring at that stuff and not understand what's happening. That's why I recommend just using a GUI to start, because it's much more obvious what's going on. Like you make a GitHub account, log in on your GitHub desktop, make a repository. You can make a repository directly on github.com.
Yeah.
You can go to your thing and make a new repo. There's a GUI way to doing everything. And just do that and like use it like Pingfan said, use it like your own Dropbox.
Yeah, just Dropbox.
You know, and especially you only have to be careful about is public versus private. You know, if it's a private repo, it's stuff that you don't want other people to see, then just turn it private and it's fine.
Yeah.
If you don't care, make it public, and you know, then you can make a copy of that, and so you can get comfortable with like making pushes and making commits is what we're pushing. We're committing these changes.
Yeah. So this is how you make a new.
So I think, and people start in my lab. That's my recommendation. When Pingfan started, I was like, start using this like Dropbox.
Yeah.
You know, just use it for any file that you're working on. If you have a project you're working on, taking notes for a class, like just say I'm only going to use this one repo for my class this semester or whatever. And you'll get very comfortable pushing and pulling. And then one day you might have to open up a terminal and learn how to use the CLI if you have a use case for it. But I rarely have a use case. I've been using GitHub for a decade and I still use GitHub Desktop because I find it really easy.
Really intuitive.
It's very comfortable to use, and I think I probably used GitHub for years for sure before I ever even touched the branching idea. I never knew what branches were forever until I got into software development, and then I was like, oh, that's why you have to make this copy thing, because the main one needs to be sort of safe. It needs to be unchanged because there are lots of people looking at it and downloading and installing from it. So that's where, you know, the branching things we demoed at the beginning.
I'll just reply with an
I never used it for a very long time.
Well,
privacy,
that's a big issue. Yeah, that's a big topic.
Because that's how I was taught. Yeah. So David's saying I use command line because that's how I was taught, and I get in trouble all the time. And I'm telling you, it is very easy to like make one little mistake and accidentally like delete your whole repo, or like not commit changes that you thought you had made. And I think it's easy to make mistakes with it, and so you do have to become quite proficient at it to use it comfortably. The only time I've ever needed to use it was in a sort of remote setting where I'm SSHing into a server or something, and then there is no GUI. I'm just like talking to like Pegasus or something. I might have to, you know,
you have to deal with SSH
using a terminal, and so if I want to do something through my GitHub there, but at that point I'm now back to Googling and searching how to do things because I'm not an expert on the CLI approach. So I think we have an overemphasis on the first tutorial we'll see on YouTube will probably be teaching the command line. And I think that's a poor entry point for a total beginner. I think it's an unnecessary complexity that it really makes you like not understand what is it we're actually doing here. I think the GUI really helps.
So I'm just curious, I'm gonna sort of blurt out loud.
Yeah.
So right now it seems like the workflow is you've got 3 different apps. You're doing your editing in IDE.
Yeah.
Doing your sort of like management of GitHub in the desktop app.
Yeah.
But then you're bouncing to the website to, you know, like a browser to like, you know, do the commits or the whole
to do reviews of PRs and stuff.
So like that seems like a lot of apps to do kind of like right now the way I'm a year in.
Yeah.
I'm using it as like Dropbox basically.
Yeah.
I'm getting fairly comfortable. So I'm using Zed for, you know,
your IDE,
editing my docs, and then I've got a terminal window in there where I could do my stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it worth it for me to switch to the desktop app, especially if I can't actually, like, it doesn't seem like I could do edits to the documents in the desktop app. It's just the
you can't. Yeah, so you're not going to be editing in the desktop, and it's purely for a visual control of pushing and pulling things and initiating pull requests and seeing the history. So the number one thing I like about it is if you click on it on yours right now is your desktop app. I can see the history changes really quickly without having to go anywhere else.
Right.
I don't have to go to the GitHub site where that repo lives. And if you click on the current repository drop down, you can change to another repository. I mean, I have tons of repos, right? So I can very quickly go back and forth between where we have 5 projects we're working on, and I can just click through all of them and look at the histories. It was really fun for me as like a sort of lab manager is like, I have all my
Yeah.
students working on different things, and I'll wake up and I just open up GitHub desktop and there's like 5 different repos that have
Yeah.
like changes that have been pulled in. I'm like, oh, my
Yeah.
students have been busy.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
get
yeah.
them all in. I look at the histories, and
Yeah.
in one place I can kind of just do that overview reading.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're doing like project management, it's really nice because I'm not actually, I don't need to make any changes, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to review and see what was done. That's kind of fun. And it, even binary files like images that change, you'll see it there. You'll see the old image on the left, the new one on the right. So
Yeah.
I can see if he updated a plot in a paper we're working on. I'm like, oh, well, there it is. There's the newest version of the chart. I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a quite nice sort of high level tool for just viewing what's going on and managing your whole like series of different repositories.
Are the binaries actually in GitHub, or do you have them like linked to Dropbox or someplace else?
No, they're all there. Like if it's like an image of, usually they're all pushed to the thing, unless it's like there are some workflows where we have some very large files, you know, like large data files, or just so many images that they end up taking up a lot of space. And then they may not be on the actual repo. I might be saving them somewhere else in like a Dropbox so that they can still sync.
Will the desktop app be able to see, like, follow the link?
No, because that won't it's only going to show me the change history, right? So it's not going to show anything that's local that's not changing in the GitHub history.
I'm asking because I'm teaching the visual art context. And my students would be potentially trying to put way more images than the GitHub account can manage.
There's a pretty good, I mean, like images are typically 5 megabytes or less or so. You know, any one commit can be as big as maybe 100 megabytes, which is really pushing the limit. That's usually not necessary, but I've pushed some pretty big changes before. So it's let me do it. It's okay.
The only limitation the GitHub limits is the single file size. It shouldn't exceed 100 megabytes. As long as it doesn't exceed 100 megabytes for a single file, then you're fine. And I have a dumb way to express or to answer your questions. Like the 3 things you just mentioned, one of them is unnecessary, the IDE. GitHub is only consisting of 2 things. One thing is whatever is live on your own computer. The other thing is the online repository. And GitHub is a bridge that helps you manually push your local repository to online or pull it back. So the thing that you see here, like in this is a GitHub folder I have on my machine. All of them is local. Imagine that I deleted my GitHub account, or I just totally lose connection with the internet. I can still have them. They are always like there on my machine. So the GitHub desktop or any Git command is just helping you to push your local file to online or reversely. So we say it push and pull. And so imagine, like, one good example is that I just came back from Philly and having a conference and also have fun with my local friends. We took some photos, and since they do not use iPhone, they use Android, then I cannot, you know, share the iCloud link with them. So that I just create a GitHub repository, made it public, and then I just, you know, push all my, you know, the images onto the repository, and I share the link with them. That's what I said, like, you just use it as a manual version of iCloud. So this is like the first easiest thing they can do. So GitHub is not necessarily embedded with IDE. It's just that it's more convenient for you to manage code. You do not have to use it with code. You can use it with anything. So it's just 2 critical things: your local repository, the online repository, and use GitHub desktop as a bridge. And then since you're doing coding, you work on your IDE. If you're not doing coding, you can work on anything else. You can also manage your Word document, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. If you're familiar with Office, you can use that as well.
We do have like Word files where, just like I had said before, where it's essentially a binary change. You don't see anything in the desktop. It just says new version. But I might have a news.md or something where I'm keeping track of what's happening. So I can still don't have to have, I still only need 1 doc file. I don't have to have all these other files. David made a really good point here about AI. Like, I mean, anything you're sticking on GitHub, it's safe to assume it's being scraped and used to train models. I think that's probably a correct assumption. Certainly the public ones, but I wouldn't see why the private ones wouldn't also be, you know, Microsoft is going to do that. So obviously they seem to not care much about copyright, given what's going into the LLMs.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't push anything there that is security issue.
Yeah, sensitive.
This is one of the biggest. We should show a git ignore. I mean, we've
yeah,
done
we
like a
git
full
ignore,
example
yeah.
of GitHub to some extent. We were supposed to
Yeah.
just be showing branching, but
Yeah.
this is so important that
Yeah.
we need to say
How
like,
about yeah.
you could ignore any file you want in that's local. So if you have
Yeah.
a local file, like I have data
Yeah.
files that I am not allowed to share because they're sensitive. And
How about my personal website? I can
And
share.
so-
This is the repository of my personal website, and then I have a git ignore.
yeah, so this .git ignore file is
Yeah.
like a hidden file. It's a
Yeah.
dot, starts with a dot, and anything in here is not going to be
Yeah.
pushed.
And it shows in gray.
Yeah, so
See,
you
it
can
shows in gray.
safely see that like any of
Yeah.
these things are going to be ignored by GitHub. So
Yeah.
if you make a change to one of those files, you won't see that change in your GitHub desktop. And this is another reason why I like desktop. It's visual. It's easy to see. Like, hey,
Yeah.
did I accidentally just try to push my environment variable that has my API?
Oh yeah, the env file, this
Um,
environment. Actually, I usually manage my my personal website on the other computer in my home. So I just ignore this env file, which is the environment file. That file, contains some sensitive information. For example, password.
Or passwords.
Yeah, password.
Yeah.
And I used to I used to push that, and then it was captured by that GitHub bot. It's just give me a warning message saying that you are pushing important information online. I would meant you to delete that. And so that I just put the env file in the ignore, and then this is the other computer I have. So you see, there's no env file because it's not pushed.
It's not pushed there.
Yeah, it is only on the other computer that I
Yeah.
have.
So there are really good mechanisms for making sure you're not accidentally sending things that you don't want to send. It could be whole folders, it can be individual files, anything you want can be in there.
Mhm.
And as long as you put it in there, it's not going to go to GitHub. And GitHub does have these flags. Like as soon as you push an API key, you'll get a message within a minute. That's like a bot
Yeah.
flags it and emails you and says, by the way, looks like you pushed this thing you probably didn't mean to. And then you go change, delete that API key and change it. But so there's ways to try to handle this kind of stuff. But for the most part, the benefits outweigh the risks in my use cases, especially another reason, just do things in the open source and then you don't have to worry so much.